Welcome to the Spinoso Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Alex Spinoso. I built multiple medical and aesthetic companies, and I'm here to share exactly how I did it. This isn't a podcast telling you you should do this. It's just telling you how I did it. I want to help you build a better business, take ownership of your life, and become a better leader at home and at work. So today we're going to talk about something the entrepreneurs and gurus of the world love to talk about and post about and bullshit about and cry about on Instagram and social media: vulnerability. Everyone's obsessed with it. People act like being vulnerable is somehow the secret sauce to leadership, connection, and even building trust. Now, don't get me wrong. There is some truth to that. Brené Brown made an entire empire off that message, so props to her. But somewhere along the way, we've lost all fucking common sense when it comes to this. We confuse vulnerability with emotional dumping. We started thinking it was noble to turn our Facebook posts into live journals of how we hate our lives. You know the type. The 900-word essay in your feed that starts with, "I don't usually post stuff like this," and then they proceed to give you a detailed breakdown of every trauma they've ever had since 1996. Listen, I'm not saying you shouldn't share your struggles. I do. But read the room, guys. Know your audience. And most of all, understand the context. Because here's the deal. Not all vulnerability is created equal. Just like love means different things depending on the relationship. Romantic love, brotherly love, friendship love. We need to recognize that vulnerability should function differently depending on the situation. The way you're vulnerable with your spouse, not the same as how you're vulnerable with your employees. Let me say that again. Your job as a leader is not to emotionally bleed out in front of your team. Your job is to inspire, lead, and stabilize. Yes, you can be human. Yes, you can be real. But if you start every Monday morning meeting by telling your team how burnt out you are, how unsure you feel, how overwhelmed you've been, guess what? You're not bonding with them. You're burdening them. You're dumping your shit on them. And let me ask you this. Has any president in the middle of a crisis ever stood in front of a nation and said, "I'm just so sad right now. I'm not sure if we're even going to make it"? No. FDR stood there in the Great Depression and he said, "We have nothing to fear but fear itself." That's leadership. Leadership says, "I feel what you feel, but I'm still moving forward and I'm going to help you move forward too." Listen, what people are calling vulnerability nowadays is often just self-absorbed emotional exhibitionism. They film themselves crying, saying, "I used to be like this," and then showing afterwards a picture of them happy. "Now I'm like this." They pretend to cry on Instagram for it. There's a difference between saying, "I've had hard days too," and using your team as your therapy group or using your following as your therapy session. Your job isn't to be understood. Your job is to bring clarity. Your job is to lead yourself and the people around you. And here's something most people miss. When you handle your burdens in private, when you fight those internal battles silently, when you show up every day and lead with strength even when you're struggling, that is vulnerability. That's the kind of vulnerability that builds respect. It's not loud. It's not performative. It's not hashtagged. It's just strong. So be real, be honest, but don't overshare. Don't confuse emotional control with dishonesty. And don't ever forget, leadership isn't about you. It's about who you're leading. Be the kind of person your team can lean on, not the type of person your team has to carry. That's how you lead, and that's how you win.